Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ukazu Henry, your number one human capacity coach, your number one human performance coach, your number one transformational coach. All right, so today we have a very great topic, the change you need to grow. Okay, let me put the topic on there for the Instagram. Okay, the change you need to grow. All right, okay, let me pin the topic. All right, the change you need to grow. Okay, did you know I like this topic, right? This topic is so nice to me because each and every one of us need growth in life. But what unfortunately, many people don't understand the difference between a growth and a change. During the course of this conversation, right, I will share with you guys the difference between a growth and a change. But let me make it to the barest minimum. For you to truly succeed in life, you must grow. You cannot remain the same thing over and over again. You must grow. Growth is the only thing that separates the ordinary man from an extraordinary man. Let me use a case of myself. I like being practical, right? When I was in high school and college, trust me, I never had a girlfriend. I never had one. And people were seeing me like someone who was like so pious, so religious because I was so good in church. I go to church, I go to morning mass, I pray. I was so reserved from my high school to my college and even my law school in Nigeria. But guess what? When I left Nigeria to the US, the environment changed me. Not the environment changed me, I would say I evolved just to adapt. And the environment made me to understand that there is so much in life and there's so much in me if only I can work hard. Today, right now, many of my contemporaries are surprised seeing Henry. Henry, you have truly evolved. How? I took them like a stone. Not only have I evolved, I have transformed. That is why I said when you change or when you grow, a lot will happen for the good or for the bad. But the most important part is that you will grow once you decide to change because change will only come to you when you decide to grow. So I'm going to ask you today, what kind of change do you want in your life? For example, now we have some people who are into fitness, right? They're into fitness, right? They want to grow in your life. So if you have like a big tummy, like most guys have big tummies, and you want to change that big tummy, what you will do is to go to gym and gym. For me, I'm very intentional every day of my life. So I go to gym. Not only do I go to gym, I have a gym in my house, right? So I do my body, my push up. If I did like 150 push up before I came live, about last 1 minute now. So that's me. So because I'm very big on my health, okay? So change means so many things to several people. But the question you need to ask yourself is, what kind of change do you need in your life? If you're into business, what kind of change do you need? If you're into academic, what kind of change do you need? Okay, if you're a religious man, what kind of change do you need? As a personal human being, what kind of change do you need personally and professionally? If you're into fitness, what kind of change do you need? If you're a mother or a father, what kind of change do you need? If you're a child, what kind of change do you need in your life? So it is very important because for you to grow in life, you must change. But that change can either be negative or positive. But for growth to take place, it comes from internal, right? It's an internal process. So for you to literally grow in life, you need that change in your life because change is necessary for growth. According to Mahatma Gandhi, he said, you must be the change you wish to see in your life. You are the one that is the architect of a change. You are the one that's the architect of your life. In my first book that I wrote, okay, I wrote about design your destiny. I said in that book, you are the architect of your life. Even though God is one that is a masterpiece, but He has given you the power of choice for you to make what you want and what you don't want. Because once you have the power of a choice in your life, you could decide what you want and what you don't want. Right now, I'm on Instagram Live and Facebook Live. You guys have chosen to come here to watch me. That's choice. So it all depends on what you truly want in life. So you must be the change you wish to see in the world. So what change do you want to see in the world? Like I said earlier on, change is necessary for growth. Without change in life, it will be difficult for you to grow. But change comes in different ways. Okay, it comes up in different dimensions. As a businessman, as a student, as a parent, these are all process of change. But the question I want to ask you guys is that what change do you want to see in your life? What is the area of growth you want to see in your life? You cannot be doing the same thing over and over again and you now expect a separate result. It's not going to work. That is insane and it's impossible because change will normally come in different facets. But the good thing about change is that it leads to transformation, right? It leads to transformation. Change coming from different aspects. For example, now, as a newborn baby, right? A newborn baby, you see a newborn baby will have to evolve to a toddler. The baby will go to the school, either kindergarten, to the middle school, to high school, to college, probably masters, PhD, and professor. That is a process of evolvement. So you are changing because you don't want to remain the same again. For example, again, as a married man, okay, probably you have been drinking, womanizing, you want to decide, I want to live a better life. It involves change. That's why I said change involves three areas of your life. For you to see that change in your life, three things are important. Okay, the people you meet, the places you go, and the principles you keep. Let me repeat that. For you to evolve in life, three things are important: the principles you keep, the places you go, and the people you meet. Trust me, if you could take those three things from me today, you will see yourself changing dramatically. There's no two way about it. So the question now is, what change do you want to see in your life? The first part of change I want you guys to pay more attention to is the aspect of principles. Each and every one of you must stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for nothing. So what is it that people know you for? Right now, we're on jet age called the internet age. I always tell my friends, we live in a connection economy. So right now, if people should ask you now, what can you say about Henry? People might say he's a motivational speaker. People might say he's a writer. It all depends. But far from it, the point is that what principles are you keeping in your life? In your personal and your professional life, what principles are you keeping? Who are the people who are in your cycle? Your network determines your network because it's all about information. And where are the places that you go? Because the place you go gives you enlightenment. So that is the question I want you guys to understand today, that for you to literally grow in life, you must change. And it's okay. Okay? It's okay that people will say, oh, you've changed. Let me tell you, you don't want to remain the same thing again. Like I said, when I was much in my high school and my college, I was not the guy that speaks out. I was not the guy that was social. But over now, right now, with my current stance, I am a very social person. I have evolved because a lot of transformation has taken place. So change is good. I have a great comment from our married life management. He said, change is good. We must keep principles to change and get better. Exactly. Please, guys, follow this great man, married life management. If you have any issues about marriage, this is a guy that is a blog. He's one of my mentors. Okay, his name is Chinda Chinda. Please follow him on Instagram. He's a great guy. Married life management. Chinda Chinda. I respect you, my senior colleague. So back to the discussion. Okay, the principles you keep, the places you go, and the people you meet. These three areas have your life in your life. I was speaking about marriage earlier on, right? If you discover that as a man, you've been doing something that has not been working well for you, either for your wife or for your kids or even for your family, it's okay to sit back and think. If you are having friends that you think that they're drunkard, they drink a lot, they humanize, it's okay to think back and think. As a matter of fact, the last 5 minutes, okay, before I began this Instagram live, there was a man I saw in Ghana, right? I saw him on Instagram live. Excuse me, I'm vulnerable, I'm a human being. Okay, so there was a man I saw in Ghana, right, on Instagram live. This man said he has been a gay for the last 20 years, but today he is now a pastor. What happened? He evolved, he changed, and now he has grown. So do you say that the principles you keep, the places you go, and the people you meet, they have a long way to go in your life? Once you change, definitely you will evolve and you will grow. Let me tell you guys this big issue about change, right? For you to have a real change in your life, okay, for you to have a real change in your life, okay, nobody will give it to you. You are the one that will make that real change to evolve in your life. Nobody else will give it to you. You are the one. And how does that play out? Nobody will give you anything if you don't earn it. Nobody. If you are in a place of work, okay, and you want to grow, you're only paid for the little work you do. Basically, what you signed up in your contract, that's what you're paid for. But if you want to get promotion in your life, then you must do the extra. And that is the good thing about change and involvement and growth. So I'm focusing more on growth. But I want you to understand that before that growth will take place, you will change. Let me give you guys a very practical example. So I have a legal background, right? For those of you who know me, right? I have a legal background. Okay. So when I wrote my first book, right, and I started getting international ovations, interviews, announcements, just name it. All of a sudden, people were surprised. How come? How come? How come? I didn't even know the value of what it is to be an author. I didn't even know. But because of the book that I had, I've getting so many recognition. That is change. As a student, if you decide you want to work hard and you get good grade, you will discover that you will be on the spotlights, either in your school or internationally. If you're a politician, by the time you win an election, you will see that there's a new change that will come up in your life. As a minister or a pastor, by the time you start to heal people or have a deliverance and people are seeing transformation in their life, you will see that there is a change that will come in your life. So all these things are process of change. Change does not come immediately. It takes time, right? But for you to really have that change in your life, you must first of all know what change do you want to see in your life. And a good way of saying this is that I always tell my friends, right? If you want to have a mentor in your life, you must know the area that mentor will play in your life. You can't just see somebody that said, I want you to be my mentor. It does not work that way. Some people will say you must have money before you can be a mentor. It does not work that way. Every human being is different. A little kid can be your mentor. A younger kid can be a mentor. An older man can be a mentor. Anybody can be a mentor. For example, I have a political mentor. I have a social mentor. I have an academic mentor. I have a spiritual mentor. I have friends who are my mentors. It all depends on what change do you want to see in your life. So for you to grow in life, you must ask yourself, what change do I want to see? Okay, what is it that I want to do? Right now I'm on Instagram Live. Do you think I'm just doing this for the fun? No, I have a reason why I'm doing this. I'm intentional and I'm deliberate. Right? When I'm done with this Instagram Live, I have to upload it on YouTube. Then it will not be on my LinkedIn and my Twitter. It will also be on my Facebook and on my LinkedIn. Trust me, people will watch it. You don't know when and where this my video will go to. But far from it, before the end of the week, I will make sure that I go back and work on these videos and I will now extract it 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 1 minute or 2 minutes, and I'll now start it on my archive. At intervals, I'll be sharing it. Now, those of you who have not watched this video live will now be seeing my little videos every now and then on social media, and it's going viral day by day. People are liking it. I'm getting noticed. It all depends on what change do you want to see, right? It does not. It will not be immediate, but over time, trust me, people will see that result. People will see that change. So, my very good friends, I want to ask you again: what change do you want to see in your life? Change does not happen immediately. The same thing with growth. Okay, it takes time. So once you just change, give yourself some level of time, right? You don't have to rush into it. Once you just change, give yourself some level of time, and you will discover that there's a lot that will come out of it. But by the time you just rush into it, it's not gonna work. It's just like when if you have your friends, right? Your friends, and that they are living a pattern of life you don't really like, right? You will not just break out for them and say, I don't want you to be my friend again. Hello, it does not work that way because you still need them. What you will do is gradually you will make them to understand that this is the pattern you want. This is how things have changed over time for you. This is how I want to evolve. You have to tell them. You don't have to claim like you are the holier than that attitude. It does not work that way. Especially maybe if there are people who are not spiritually minded, right? And then you have changed from the let me I don't know how to say that, but the point there is that you have evolved to a Christian. Maybe they are living life that in their worldly lives, and then you have decided that I don't want to live a worldly life any longer. Trust me, there's a way you can get them together, and they will understand it without you being harsh or critical or being judgmental. So that's why I said when you change, don't have to be forceful about it. Adjust to that whole process, and in due time, your friends who see it will come to you. But let me tell you the interesting thing about change and growth, right? Now, when you are about to apply these principles of growth and change, there's something you have to ask yourself. Do you need a change in your life, or do you need a growth in your life? For you to decide you need a change in your life, do you know what you have to do? Don't take a case study of someone who has just graduated from school, and he or she has picked up a job he or she does not like, and not only that, that job has started affecting that person mentally, right? Your peace of mind is no longer there. You don't like the job. Once you are having that thought, it's now left for you to understand: do I need it, or I don't need it? In that case, what you need is a change. You don't need that growth. That is not a growth. But a growth will only take place where you are having a job, right? And you are being given some task to do. When you now execute that task, there's no other task for you to do again. To you, it now becomes boring. That is when you now know you need growth. So I want you guys to understand the thin line between growth and change, right? Change can be spontaneous, and it could be negative or positive, but growth is a gradual process. But I'm going to share with you guys now, okay, some tidbits to know what is a change and what's a growth. Why change can be imposed from outside, growth is from inside because you have had that decision. Why change can be negative or positive, growth is always positive. Why? Because you could change from good to bad and from bad to good. But for growth, that means you are elevating your game. Why change can be instant, growth is process. Okay, just like if you're a man that wants to have it, if you're going to the gym, right, it takes a greater process. Why change can be a single decision, growth is consistent motivation and learning. Why change can be the beginning of growth, growth always starts with a decision. So do you guys see that there's a lot of process that comes with it? So your end target should be growth and not change. But before growth will take place, change must come in. If you have a company, right, you must know how to implement change and how to implement growth. If as a manager you don't know how to implement it, you might screw up because everybody's different. You must know what works for Mr. A and what works for Mr. B. That is why I love what Nelson Mandela said, the former president, the late president of South Africa. He said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So education will tell you on how to grow. So as a business leader or as a manager, you have to know when to execute and when not to execute. All right. So it's very, very important because if you don't apply these right principles, you might screw up. Another principle I want to share with you guys is that when I'm talking about growth and change, is that change deals more with the past. You cannot change it. All right. Because the past is now your history. Do you get it? But you cannot change the past. You can't stop the past. It has already happened. That is why it's now history. Now, you cannot also change the future, but you can influence it because you cannot stop the future from happening, but you can influence the future. And how can you influence the future is basically the principles that you keep today that will make you to now change the future. The people you meet today that will now can influence your future. And there are the places you go that cannot influence your future. So if you do not plan yourself very well, the principles of change and growth might not work very well. That is why you have to pay critical attention to some of these issues. But let me tell you guys, most importantly is that there are many benefits that comes with change and growth. But I'm going to stick more on the value that you will get when you apply the principles of growth in your life, right? The first one is you will gain respect when you change for the good and when you decide to grow. Why do I mean by that? If as a student now you have done a good job, you formerly you were not doing a good job, and then down the line you start doing a good job, you will see that you will receive some accolades. Let me share with you guys. When I was in New York Law School, I had a challenge during the program. I was not doing very well. But guess what? Down in the middle of the program, and I did very well. My dean was not impressed with me. She gave me a scholarship of $3,000. Why? Because I added value to my life. So once you change for the good, you are bound to make impact. So for you to know the value of change, you have to make impact. make impact as a student, make impact as a professional, make impact as a politician, make impact as a president, or even as an entrepreneur. Once you make impact in people's life, you will see that there's so much that will come out of it. Another point I want to talk to you guys again is the aspect of awareness, right? Awareness is very, very critical. Once you've tried to change for the betterment of your life and your business, trust me, you will see yourself creating much more recognition, more than you even imagine, because people will see you in the light for good results. Awareness is critical. Another point again I want to mention again is the aspect of opportunities. Once you decide to change in your life or have a growth in your life, you are bound to gain opportunities. Let me say, for example, now you travel to a different country, you will learn the language, you will learn the lifestyle. Culture shock might not affect you, right? Because why? You are trying to adapt to it. So circumstances will not really define you, but it can make you to evolve in life, right? Even though some people will say that in life circumstances can be used to define you. But trust me, to a reasonable extent, right? I don't really believe in that, because you have to be in someone's shoe for you to understand what that person has gone through. Because you might say, I can do this, but trust me, one time comes for you to act, you might see yourself doing something else. So you have to be critical on when to apply the principles of change and growth. Because as you are evolving, a lot of process is taking place. But the problem is that many people are afraid to change. Many people are afraid to grow. Why? Because they are uncertain of tomorrow. They don't know the feedback they will get. They are afraid of changing the status quo. So they now want to remain the place they are, and that is not healthy. As a rational human being, you must take risk. Risk is very, very important in life, because when you take risk, I mean reasonable risk, you will not decide to take any risk. No, you will take a risk that is really, really important, because as a business person you must take risk. So when you decide to change, that means you are taking risk. All right. So if it now works for you, people will respect you. Let me give you a typical case of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur will be in the background working on a product, trying to implement a business structure. Nobody says the work of that entrepreneur. But guess what? When that work comes out, people will now start to applaud you when it is good. But they fail to understand that that same entrepreneur must have done 5, 6, 7, or even more than 100 times. But that job did not say that of the day. That is why I tell you that people fail in life because they are afraid of taking risk. So for you to apply a real growth in your life, you must take that bold step of taking risk. It's when you take that risk will now lead to your growth in life. I took a risk in life. I've shared my story several times on Instagram. I took a risk. Writing my book was a risk, because if that book was not good, by now people might be laughing at me as a poor writer. I traveled to Nigeria to see my grandmom. I resigned from my job. I took a risk. Guess what? I came back. I was in New York City, on the street of New York, literally begging to sell my books. Down in the process, I saw someone that worked in the news. That was how I was profiling the news. New York Times picked me up, and Newsweek picked me up. That was a risk. So life is all about risk. So for you to grow in life, you must be intentional and you must be deliberate. So I'm going to ask you, what are the big changes you think you have made in your life that has influenced your growth? That is what I want you guys to go back home and sit down and think through it. And also, again, if you have not had any big change, what is the change you think you need in your life that can help you to change your fortune? That is what I will leave you guys with. Right? So, my very good friends, I want you guys to know that change can lead to your growth in life, but it all depends on the kind of change you want. So, I'm going to leave it with you guys with this base. Change is necessary for growth, but before growth will come in, you have to change for the good. So I want to thank you guys for giving me your ears today. This is Mr. Ukazu, live from New York City. I am your number one human capacity coach. If you have anything you need in your life, you think you want to implement, but you don't know how to execute it, I'm the plug that you need. I am your number one human performance coach. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to transform your life. Take care and have a blissful evening. See you next week. Bye.